Oscar Pistorius' bid for redemption is being compared to ripping a Band-Aid off a wound after the convicted murderer wrote a distressing letter to the parents of Reeva Steenkamp, who he shot dead in his home in South Africa.
The former Paralympic athlete was found guilty of Reeva's murder and has now served half of his sentence. In a moment, we'll be joined exclusively by Reeva's parents. First, Kira Durkin reminds us of that tragic story. Reeva's parents, Barry and June Steenkamp, join us now from South Africa. Good morning. As a dad, it's almost kind of impossible to imagine how hard things will have been for you with the tragic loss of your daughter, but I'm sure the passage of time doesn't make things any easier for you.
Yes, it doesn't make it easier. It actually makes it more difficult. And it's just something that we have to go through again. And what can you say? It's awful.
How did you feel when the letter arrived from Mr. Pistorius' lawyers?
Well, June and myself, we actually we were dumbfounded, and naturally, I think the letter was sent to us to do with the parole that is coming up. And yes, it's only June and I and our lawyer that has seen what has been written in it. We've kept it quiet and we don't want to push it out to anybody as to what was said. We might let people know at a later stage, but not now.
I know, Mr. Steenkamp. I know, Mr. Steenkamp, that you've always wanted to have the opportunity to have a conversation and to tell him the impact it's had on yours and June's life. But is this the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it?
You know, often you change your mind as the years and the months go by. You say to yourself, am I doing the right thing or have I said the right thing? But yes, one day I would like to talk to Oscar, and man to man I'd like to talk to him. Because June and myself, we feel there are still a lot of things to come out of this story, and we are hoping that Oscar will tell us the truth.
I don't know whether you expect...
And that's the reason why I'm the one that would actually like to speak to Oscar. June, no.
Right.
But I would like to have a chat to him one day, if it's possible, and we'll see how it goes from there.
Are you expecting him to show any remorse when you have that conversation? Do you think he understands what he's done? Do you think he feels sorry for what he's done?
You know, that's a very difficult question. You know, once the deed has been done, 90% of the people will feel remorse. Your 10% don't care, and those are the ones that need never ever to get out of prison or whatever. But naturally, I'm sure if you kill somebody, I kill somebody, sooner or later you're going to feel remorse, whether it's for yourself or for the family.
June, I think people will be astonished that he's even eligible for parole at this stage, having only served half of his sentence. How do you feel about the fact that he's likely soon to be released?
Not necessarily. I don't think he would be not necessarily it would be on him to get parole, because he must serve whatever his full time. In my eyes, he must still pay for what he's done.
You
and
would
that's
like him
what
to,
we expect him.
Yeah, you would like him to remain in prison for the entirety of his 13 years sentence.
Yes. Yes. That's true, absolutely true.
And how much influence do you think you
I
have
don't think
as parents? I'm so sorry because there is a delay on the line. Let me just ask, how much influence do you think you have as Reeva's parents on him being denied parole?
No, I don't think it is like that. I really don't think that we're going to have that much influence. It's not going to change anything. It's up to them to decide. We leave it up to the law to decide.
How do you feel about...
I don't know, but...
How do you feel about Oscar Pistorius right now? What are your thoughts and feelings about him? I know that you have a faith, and I wonder if that's made you think certain things about him and what he did.
Well, what is the question you're asking me? Well, how I feel about him personally?
Yes.
He's shown no remorse. He's shown no remorse. And it would only show remorse, I think, if it contributes to his getting out of jail. That's what I believe.
It's an
We
almost...
haven't had the full story.
Sorry.
I don't believe that it's the truth. Changed his mind 3 times under oath to a different story. And we don't believe that's the truth of the story. That's what we want, the truth.
This is an almost...
This has been a horror story for us.
This is an almost impossible question for you, Barry and June, because I kind of appreciate the full horror. I mean, is it ever possible for you to understand or forgive him, or is that just too much to ask of grieving parents?
I forgave. Sorry is not enough. In any case, it's not enough for losing her life. She was the most wonderful child, the most wonderful. She studied at school. She has a law degree. She was making movies. She was doing everything. Her future was ahead of her. Now she has no wedding. We have no grandchildren, and she never would have her wedding dress. She had nothing. He took everything away from her and us. And that is something that is important to me. What the things that she would never have had.
And that means you could never, in the end,
and I forgave
him.
Because...
sorry, I apologise. You're saying you can forgive him?
No, I have because, yes, I forgave him through God because I believe in God and I'm a Christian. And I had to, from God, I was asked to forgive him. And that's the only thing. But it doesn't mean that he hasn't got to pay for what he's done. He showed no remorse, and we don't believe the story. We don't believe the story that he gave. I don't know how it came to that. We want the truth. Barry and I want the truth. And this is what this interview is about, pointing in that direction.
You're in an impossibly difficult situation, Barry and June, and I know people right across the whole of the UK will have deep sympathy for you, and you're in a very complicated position with the legal process. But we hope that things can not only be fair, but that you can find some peace. But I know how incredibly difficult that is. But thank you for joining us and sharing your feelings about this today. Thank you.
No, it's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And our thoughts are with you and the loss of your beautiful daughter. I mean, that couple have just been through the mill, haven't they? And it is not an unreasonable request.
No.
They simply want to know what genuinely happened that awful night. And forgiveness is an incredible thing to be able to offer. because of June's Christian faith. But actually, until you know what's happened, you can't, as you say, be at any sort of peace.
And we say as part of the legal process, it's important that the families have the chance to have these moments with the perpetrator, but it's also an incredibly difficult thing for them to go through.